everybody. Welcome to People of Interest. I'm your host, Ryan T. Barlow. Thank you so much for coming out on this Friday night or Saturday morning for some of our international guests. So if you're new to the show or just would love a refresher, I've written the biographies for three very interesting characters, and waiting in the wings, I have three very interesting performers who are going to perform those characters. The catch is they have no idea anything about their characters, and they're not going to find out until I'm reading their description to you, the audience. So that's a lot of fun. So let's show you who's on the show tonight. You got Tara Kaushal, which I think I just mispronounced, and even though I practiced it earlier, Pete Duong and Sam Abrams. Fun fact, we were all on a improv team called Untitled, which turned art into improv, and then improv was turned back into the art at the end of the show. It was really good, and maybe we'll bring it back. I think we'll bring it back one day. Anyway, so these are your guests you're going to see tonight, and back to me. There I am. So again, thank you for coming, and before we get started, here are today's headlines.
Good evening. It's 79 degrees in South Philadelphia, and for POI News, I am Neil Bardhan. The year 2020 continues, and so I feel compelled to continue to bring you headlines and stories from this bizarre world in which we live. At the Port of Philadelphia, early in August, customs officials found a live mantis and egg sacs smuggled in a computer mouse. The contraband was headed for an address in New Hampshire before they were seized. Not only is this a violation of live animal importation, a CBP spokesman said, but it's just a bad idea. I mean, sacks for eggs? Use a carton! In other federal law enforcement news, President Trump's former campaign advisor, Steve Bannon, was arrested this week on a boat. The boat is named Lady May and is owned by Guo Wengui, one of China's most wanted fugitives. Great job, Steve, showing your intellectual prowess once again, hiding exactly where nobody would ever look for you. For those of you in Philadelphia, indoor dining and theater will return to our dear city on September 8th. Restaurants can operate at up to 25% capacity for seating, and theaters can have up to 25 people in them. The mayor noted that this means not only will you no longer feel crowded while having dinner, but also every eatery will finally feel incredibly exclusive. The mayor went on to say that this is also good news for the comedians out there who complained that Zoom just doesn't feel as good. Congratulations, friends. You can go back to performing in empty rooms. A school district of Philadelphia administrator has lost her job. It turns out that she was also working simultaneously at her old job back in Ohio, fulfilling a parallel role directing curriculum and instruction. When asked for comment, Dr. Tracy Ocasio asked, "What, you guys aren't all working twice as hard while you're at home too?" That's all the news for tonight. If you need a reminder, wear a mask and wash your hands. If you don't need a reminder, congratulations. Ryan, back to you. People of Interest is supported by Crest. While it may be a good time to put off your routine dental cleanings, you still have to brush your teeth. You're not brushing your teeth to impress your dental hygienist. You're brushing your teeth because having healthy teeth is important for overall health. Come on!
Thanks for being here. For decades, one of the holy grails of modern medical science has been the cure for the common cold. Countless virologists, epidemiologists have struggled to discover a way for people to instantly rid themselves of the effects of the common cold, but have all come up short. Well, the leading researcher in this area and my next guest, Dr. Maura Hill, was on the verge of making a major breakthrough that would have succeeded where countless other doctors and scientists have failed. I say would have, because unfortunately due to the global coronavirus pandemic, no one cares about colds anymore. Dr. Hill's breakthrough, which involves disabling proteins necessary for the rhinovirus replication, which causes half of all colds, excuse me. Don't worry, I'm not coming down with a cold right now. After huge success with lab mice and chimps, Hill and her team were just about to move into human testing, but due to COVID-19, this had to be put on hold. Not only that, Dr. Hill is having a hard time securing any funding to continue her work since no one cares about the cold, and hasn't been able to find anyone who has a cold because everyone's been quarantined. Dr. Hill joins us here tonight to explain why curing the common cold is still very important, even if no one has had a cold in the past several months. Dr. Maura Hill, welcome.
Hello, Ryan.
So curing the common cold, I mean, the holy grail, I doing research for this, everybody, has been trying to solve this, and it seems like you're right there. Could you tell us, I guess, a little bit about how you got to this point?
Well, yeah, I was in school forever. I was in school for the first 43 years of my life. I got a PhD in biochemistry, followed by an MD in a specialty in immunology and allergy, and did 2 fellowships in infectious disease, as well as lab science. So I emerged finally from my many years of training, starting my research on animal models, as you explained, and I was ready to go to human subjects, which is really, what people want to hear about. That's really important. People want to know what can cure the common cold in humans. And then this really has thrown a wrench in the progress of my research and my career. So it's been rough.
Yeah, it's got to be difficult. When I first heard about this, all I could think of was I literally haven't had a cold in 6 months or however long it's been, and it's been great. I really got to say I've been very happy. Just sort of quarantining. Will we get colds again? I mean, are we sort of stuck here? What we'd even need a cure at this point?
Well, I think a very basic sort of clarification that I think it's important to make, and what I feel like I'm trying to explain to the people that have stopped supporting the work that I'm doing, is that coronavirus is a cold. It is a type of cold. It enters your body in the same way that a cold does. This particular coronavirus happens to have, of course, much worse complications, but I think what's been challenging is that there's been a lack of understanding that the work that I do is translatable. And you're right that people are not getting colds because the things we do to prevent getting coronavirus are the same things that if we did all the time, we probably wouldn't get colds. I remember one of the first emails I got from an airline, once this all started happening, started explaining to me that they were going to start cleaning planes. And I said, what were you doing before?
Oh, yeah. I suppose I hadn't thought about that. Huh. Well, I wonder if, as you mentioned, your cure would have applications for the coronavirus, but you've been very steadfast at saying that you are just out to cure the common cold. I mean, everything I've read, you were very insistent that you're only going to talk about the common cold. Why don't you, sort of diversify a bit and say like, oh, we're going to cure viruses or something?
It's really hard to, when you say that you're going to cure the common cold, people listen to you. And I wish I could present that in some other way, but the truth is, in order to get, it sounds really cool to cure the common cold. And so I have been branding my research to be working towards that. Ultimately, everyone in my field wants to work to understand viruses better, to prepare for things like this. Maybe I had an error in branding. I don't know. But truly, I was presenting my research as curing the common cold because before all this happened, that's probably what most people wanted.
Yeah, but now nobody seems to care. I mean, sorry. How have you been dealing with that? On a personal level. I mean, this is really kind of like snatching defeat from the jaws of victory, so to speak.
Well, I will say it's been really great for my personal life. Like I said, I spent the first 43 years of my life in a lab, and now my lab is closed because you're not allowed to go to lab unless you're studying the coronavirus, which, as you know, I'm studying rhinovirus, which is a different and distinct coronavirus. So I've been connecting with friends. I've been taking on new hobbies. I learned to cross stitch. I'm cross stitching a penguin, which you think would be easy because it's two colors, but it's actually harder because it's two colors.
Oh, is there I guess shading colors, the transition colors between the two?
Yeah, but it's really hard. You think lab research is hard? I got this close to finding the cure for the common cold, but the hardest thing I've done in my life is cross-stitching that penguin.
So, you've come so close, and now you're sort of finding fulfillment elsewhere. Do you have any regrets at this point?
Well, I mean, maybe as many people are learning, maybe I wish I spent a little less time in the lab and a little more time learning about what else is out there. I think, I feel that the work I did and that I do is important, and everyone's work is important, but I think we're learning some really interesting lessons about work-life balance. I feel that when I go back into my lab, because I will, and the common cold, sorry, but it will come back, and my work will become relevant again, I think I'll come back refreshed and ready to get back into it because I've found something artistic and something else to do with my brain. I'm not a neurologist, but I think our brains need breaks, and I think they need to mix it up and do different things. And this is one way in which this pandemic has really given me something else to do with my brain, and I think I'm the better for it.
That's great. I mean, I'm glad that there's a positive coming out of this. I guess a lot of people in the comments are really wondering why you didn't just switch to COVID, the coronavirus, and focusing on curing COVID-19, because a lot of people are much more worried about that right now.
You'd think that would be very easy, but it turns out that while coronavirus, rhinovirus, and a number of other viruses are all part of the family of those that cause what we know as the constellation of symptoms known as the common cold. But it turns out actually that rhinovirus is DNA and structurally completely distinct from coronavirus. So while I do feel like it was very helpful, and I feel like, I'm still doing something for the world and learning about viruses and therapeutics, at the end of the day, rhino and coronavirus are as different as the black and white on the penguin I'm cross-stitching.
Well, I mean, there's no overlap whatsoever. You haven't been. Is there any nothing?
Ryan, to put it in layman's terms, the overlap ends in the word virus.
No, that's a bummer.
Sorry.
So, we've got a couple of audience questions. Someone's wondering if, since you're not using your lab right now, if you're selling any of your lab supplies, because they're looking for some beakers.
I don't have any beakers right now, but I do have 34 by 68 gauge pipettes. I have about 43,000 of them. So if they're interested, they can send me a message.
Okay. And we have another guest, Joe from Philadelphia, is wondering, have you cured any viruses previously?
I'm not at liberty to share that information.
Oh, is that it's confidential or can you? Oh, so it's
Let's just say that there's people overseeing my work, and I don't always have control over what's disseminated of my findings.
Oh, that's wow. That's bombshell. Is there anything you can tell us about those people at all? Or
let's just say that there's a little something that causes an itchy big toe that doesn't need to.
Oh, sorry. I'm just getting feedback that Joe from Philadelphia wanted to know what virus I've ever cured, which is none. So I guess he was sticking up for you. So you've got a friend in Philadelphia, Dr. Hill.
I do.
So you're saying that the common cold is going to come back. Is it going to be worse? Is it going to be easier to deal with? Could you give us a quick preview of what that might look like when we all stop washing our hands, I guess?
Yeah, so I think that's the kicker, the very last thing you said. I think that it's really going to depend on how much all the hand hygiene, habits that we have created for ourselves during this pandemic persist. Some things about the common cold are good. I mean, the thought is that kids get a lot of, little kids get a lot of coughs and colds, and that builds up their immunity as they grow into adults. And so that's not necessarily the worst thing, but as adults, it can definitely be bothersome. And in the worst case, if those with certain underlying conditions or who are older, it can lead to getting very sick. So I think that the common cold is going to come back just because everything else is going to come back. Fights with your best friend are going to come back because you're going to see your best friend more, right? Like once the world opens up again and the good things that we're used to experiencing come back, also the not so good things are going to come back too, and that's just inevitable. But it would be nice if all of us learned a little something about, simple things like hand hygiene and things that we can do to keep ourselves on the healthier side.
So, final question is, I know you're still looking for funding, and I was wondering if you wanted to make one final appeal to any wealthy donors that might be in the audience to start sending some funding your way.
I'm going to be honest. It's really hard to make a case for anything other than COVID right now. So while I am disappointed that my funding is down, I think as a person, as a physician, as a researcher, it's been hard for me, but I'm okay with the funding heading towards COVID right now because I think, unfortunately, we still need it. We don't have a vaccine and we don't have a cure.
Well, that's very noble of you, and we appreciate the sacrifice you've made, and we hope that once this we've got this under control, that your cure will be on the market, and I won't have the sniffles anymore.
Me too.
So, Dr. Moore-Hill, thank you so much for being here.
Farmers Insurance supports people of interest. Does anyone ever hum our jingle? We were trying to get into that by men in headspace, but honestly, we just don't think it's taking off. Like, does it ever pop into your head randomly throughout the day? God, we hope so. Coming up with an earworm jingle is way more important to us than selling insurance.
As professional sports struggle to safely hold their seasons, many have recognized the Karaoke World Championship as the gold standard for how to safely hold a competitive tournament. Employing a team of world-renowned epidemiologists, the KWC revolutionized the bubble and made mask use mandatory at all times, even during performances. The results were truly one of the greatest Karaoke World Championships in history, and even with the masks on, critics praised the singing as being professional quality. Unfortunately, leaked documents provided to the press by my next guest show that was all a sham. Max Wells, one of the junior judges for the competition, turned whistleblower to expose that the mask use was really just a cover to hide the fact that the singers were not really singing and were instead lip-syncing, sort of, to pre-recorded songs by their original artists. Although he initially wished to stay anonymous, Wells decided to step out of the shadows here tonight, as he believes that this scandal has sullied the purity and grace of karaoke and has done irreparable harm to karaoke's ability to transcend cultures and ultimately bring peace to the whole world. Max Wells, welcome.
Thank you, Mr. Barlow. Thank you for having me.
So, I mean, this was a huge shock. I watched the Karaoke World Championship. I thought it was stunning, and I was blown away that everyone sounded so much like the original artist. But I guess I understand and why now. So what happened?
Can you believe it? They're trying so hard to destroy the image of the same people like me who have worked their hardest just to get on that stage and hold a microphone and project our voices. And we just want to be heard at least 3 nights a week at our favorite bars. And they just want to ruin it. You take all this time to practice, and then they hide it behind a mask. I don't know what happened. It's just the greed. It's the greed. It's a popularity contest now. Just like I was in. But it changed. Sorry.
I know you were a consistent competitor, a few years ago, and then you moved into one of the judging roles. How did that happen?
Mm-hmm. My beautiful voice, man. The stage time, the theatrics, that's what they want to hear. That's how you get up there. Consistency. The love for the game. The love for music. The love of not wanting to write your own and just singing other people's songs. I don't know how to play an instrument. I am my own instrument. I worked hard. And plus, I came from a rich family. That helped.
So you had a lot of resources to dedicate your time to this. But as a judge, I mean, that must have been I was just going to say that as a judge, that must have been moving up to the judge role. It must have been something of a compliment to say that here you are, you're so well liked that they wanted to give you this space, but you're saying that this was just to kind of get you out of the way.
I think so. I think they were tired of seeing me win. They just want to see fresh new faces, man. That's the karaoke music singing business right there for you. Once you mm-hmm. get old and you look like me, they forget about who opened this game up, who made it so important, who were the forefront runners of this entire industry. They want 2-minute songs now. They don't want 6.5-minute Bohemian Rhapsody songs anymore. It's the fresh faces, the terrible music. I don't know. Maybe I'm just blabbing on too much when I actually just want to sing,
I understand. It must have been pretty devastating for you. So when did you first, stumble upon this conspiracy? Did you see the sort of documents first, or you started having suspicions, so you started digging around? What led you to find all these documents?
Karaoke leaks. It's like WikiLeaks. Karaoke leaks, man. Yeah. All that stuff just I'm a part-time conspiracy theorist. And you know what? When I look into it, it's not a conspiracy anymore. It's true. I read it all out. I researched everything. I just kept going down that white rabbit hole. And it just all sprung on me. And it was document after document. It was even in I even saw it in a biography about Kiss. They took all their songs. Gene Simmons didn't want his music to be sung at karaoke bars. But then this is what happened. He said it too. I said it. I saw it in a document on 2020 with Barbara Walters. That's how it started. It was just like one tiny idea. Oh yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And then you just kept pulling the thread.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Literally threads online. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry.
So how did they? Don't worry about it. It seems kind of unbelievable that they were planning this for so long and just waiting for a moment when they could, cover people's mouths to prevent them from, figuring out people that they were lip syncing, with masks. How do you think that were they just kind of biding their time, waiting for the right moment, or you think the plans were more sinister?
Oh, it's absolutely sinister. Are you kidding me? They just want to destroy this whole industry. It used to be for fun. And then when I realized that it was for competitions, and when you're in the mindset that I'm in, there's just nothing more that you want to do when you have passion for it. But they started realizing they can make money off of this, just like anything else. You start off with a $25 competition, and then these competitions keep going. When you're winning with your mask on, you can make $1,000 at your favorite local bar. It's all about the money, man. And the $20 cocktails, free of charge.
Right.
For first $20, yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I said it.
We've got a couple people who are wondering what your favorite your go-to karaoke song is. We're just wondering if you could give a shout out to the fans what your go-to is.
Are you kidding? 20 years of music, 20 years of just bringing those. Do you have any idea how many binders I have at home that are covered in beer? Like I have. What do you guys want? Top 5? You had top 1?
I guess it's right now. Right now, we were in a karaoke bar, and it was your turn. What song would you go with?
Hands down, Time After Time, Cyndi Lauper.
Oh wow!
I can even Oh yeah, I even got the dance down.
The dance.
Mm-hmm. I've choreographed it. That's what they want to see. They want to see dancing and singing. Mm-hmm. But we don't have to do that now.
Oh, okay. I mean, if you want to, if you have the space, I know everyone would love to see it, but I don't want to. I know sometimes these setups are kind of delicate. I don't want you to break something.
Honestly, these karaoke competitions aren't enough to afford a big room, so it's kind of tight in here. I don't want to. Yeah, it's okay. We'll save for another time when bars open up again.
Sure. So one of the theories that I saw, in doing the research for this was that that the karaoke industry was sort of goosing up the competitions to get more leverage into getting local governments to reopen karaoke bars and just karaoke bars. Do you think that perhaps, if that had gone through, is that, do the ends justify the means where, they're sullying the purity of karaoke, but they're getting those open again?
Man, that's a hard question. I think it's man, as much as I want them opened, no, I want them open. It would be a good idea to just have them all open up. I miss it. I'm sure they can regulate where you stand, or I've seen people turn the mic up really loud, stand far away from it. There's ideas out there. Hey, there's plenty of ideas out there. Man, whatever. It's for people who want. What's that?
Well, I was just saying, if this, if cheating at the World Championships would have had that leverage to reopen karaoke bars again, are you regretting, doing it, or?
It's way too early for competitions. they just, man, that is a difficult question to answer. I'm iffy about this now.
Oh,
I thought I had my answers for it, but it's okay. It's okay, man. My mind is shifting right now.
So,
but
do you think? I mean, do you think that you can share a stage with someone who's not really singing, though? I mean, it is kind of going against your principles, like at what the cost? Or are you going to cost karaoke its soul just so people can get liquored up and scream "You Ought to Know" at 2 a.m?
Oh, you know what I forgot to mention? So I started this new coalition for local bars, and it's a coalition that seeks out these fakers, these fake karaoke singers, right? What you do is we have one of our members run. We've done this before COVID happened. We did it before karaoke bars closed down, or just bars in general that hosted karaoke nights. What we would do is we kind of weeded out, this is only on a local scale. We can't really do that. You know what I mean? But we would have them run some of the evenings, some of the karaoke nights. And if we suspected anybody of cheating, or just lip singing, we would just stop the music or just turn down the music. And if they're just like, no sound and anything, that's how we do it. And if that opens up, I completely forgot I didn't think about this, but we're gonna work with the local bars when they open up again, mostly those, because that's where they all start. That's where they all start, man.
Yeah, I totally get it. We're just about out of time, but as a favor to the audience, if you wouldn't mind just singing the chorus of "Time After Time." I know you don't have a backing track, but I think a lot of people just want to hear it.
Ryan, I don't need the backing track. If you're lost in your love, then you will find me. Time after time. If you fall, I'll be there. I will be waiting. Time after time. Time after time. Time after time.
Max Wells, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
LinkedIn supports people of interest. LinkedIn is not nearly as problematic as Facebook or Twitter or Instagram, but we offer a lot of the same functions, so why not just start using LinkedIn as your go-to social media platform, huh? Think about it. No one is going to post any offensive or ridiculous content because a potential or current employer could see it. It's the perfect setup.
These days, it's not uncommon to hear people joke that the world has gotten dumber over the past 4 years. Well, as it turns out, it's no joke. The world actually has gotten dumber over the past 4 years, and my next guest is the reason. Athena, goddess of wisdom, who fosters all knowledge and learning in the world and is patron of the sciences and the arts, has been on an extended sabbatical since October of 2016. For most of the 2000s and 2010s, the amount of effort that Athena was putting into providing the world with wisdom was causing Athena to experience occupational burnout. This led to her deciding that she needed to take an extended 10-year break to gather herself together and find her center. Things, as you might have imagined, have not gone well during that time. Athena takes a break from her sabbatical tonight to discuss what happened and why she's still not coming back until her sabbatical's done in 2026. Athena, goddess of wisdom, welcome.
Hi, yes, welcome to my show.
Because you're the patron of the arts, and this is, sort of a comedic art. So thank you for the inspiration for this. We appreciate it.
It's obvious I haven't inspired much, but yes, you're welcome. Mm-hmm.
So, take us back, when did things really start, where you really started getting burned out? I would imagine, in the 2000s, George W. Bush becomes elected, you get the Iraq War, you've got Facebook, social media in general. Like, when were you just like, oh my gosh, I guess I gotta take some time off?
I think the moment was Nickelback. I heard their music, I heard their genre, which I believe is referred to as butt rock. And, I said, I have to just take a break because obviously I am not doing my best work and I am not taking care of me. And, I read this great book. I can't remember what it's called, but it was by a white woman. And she said that if you're not taking care of you, then who are you taking care of? And so I just went on an eat, pray, love journey. Now, that is where I hit some snags because, you can't pray to yourself. So until I figure that out, I'm going to continue baking sourdough. And I have gotten really into Impractical Jokers. It's a hoot.
So, obviously, October 2016, we were in the heat of the previous election. I think a lot of people were expecting Hillary Clinton to win. And then it seems like things went off the rails pretty immediately after you went on sabbatical. Is it? I mean, I don't want to assign you blame or anything, but do you feel you played a part in that at all?
And, you shouldn't. So here's the thing. I want people to be wise. Now, if people are intelligent, they have some control over that. But wisdom comes through struggle. And what better struggle than having a real poop head in the White House, huh? So my thought was, with Hillary, I just thought it would be too easy. And we just would not have some of the arts and culture that have emerged without me. Maybe a little bit, maybe a little sprinkle. Not a lot of sprinkle though. I just wanted to see what would happen. You know what I mean? And it turns out a lot happens when you don't watch your kids in the sandbox. We've eaten a lot of cat turds since then, but we've also made some castles. So I can't say it's balanced out, but once again, still loving my own me time. Do you know I tried yoga one time?
Oh, how did that go?
Oh, it was yoga with Adrian. It was great, but then I got distracted 10 minutes in, so I felt very at peace and wandered off to get a snack.
Mm-hmm. Lovely. Now, I understand this isn't your first sabbatical. There have been a few others sprinkled around the Dark Ages, for instance. Pretty much like just 1999 in general. Was you were kind of on vacation? I understand, like pretty much just like once Limp Bizkit happened, that was kind of.
Yeah. Sometimes part of being a goddess is remembering why you are important to your subjects. And so, how funny was it that I made everybody think your computer wouldn't work because the year would be 00. I was very important then. The Dark Ages, I mean, how funny to think what happens if rats, which are everywhere, could spread disease. Oh gosh, and the worship in general was just up after that point. Now, misguided, that's a different conversation. But as long as people are praying to somebody, I get a little.
We've got a question from Tom in Chicago, who's desperate to know what your sourdough starter secret is.
I got it from a nice lady named Katie about 3 years ago. She bakes bread for her family every week, which I just cannot comprehend because in reality, I only bake sourdough once every few months. This is true. My secret is to keep it in the fridge until I forget it's there, and then I see it when I'm looking for pickles, and go, oh shit, I should feed this thing, and then I warm it up. Give it some warm water and some flour, leave it out so it can eat and bubble, and then I put it back in the fridge to forget about for another few months. And it makes a real sourdough from neglect. Mm-hmm.
Nice. Let's see. A lot of people are wondering if you wouldn't mind just cutting your sabbatical short. I know you've been very adamant you're going to go all the way to 2026. You've earned your whole 10 years, but a lot of people are wondering if you could just kind of come back for like a year or two, just to kind of get everything, on track a little bit, and then, you can pop off to wherever you want to go, I guess.
Now, see, I resent this question because there is a pantheon of gods that everyone can be bothering, and I earned this break. I deserve it. And if there is anything I have learned in the last few years, especially since the 2016 election, it is that humankind believes that white women should have a break if they want one. And so, given I'm appearing as one today, I am taking a break. And I do not appreciate your insinuation that it is on me to fix everyone's problems. It's not my job to care about human beings. It is my job to take care of myself so I can better care for you later if I feel like it.
Oh, well, I mean...
I'm thinking of getting into it.
Mm-hmm. We've got Noah just popped in and wants to know if there's another god we should be asking for help while you're out. You have like a sort of an out of office that we could... That
is very rude, and I have it on good authority that Noah's Jewish, so cut that shit out, Noah.
Oh, well, you are a god, so you do know everything. And so I guess he's going to pray on that one. He's going to contact, I just got word that he's going to contact the Jewish god ASAP. So we'll hope on that. Now you have mentioned that...
No, you're not supposed to say the Jewish god's name. You don't say ASAP. Continue.
Oh. Well played. You did mention that from time to time you still have sprinkled some of your wisdom and art patronage. And just personally, I need to this confirmed. Were you responsible for Lizzo?
Yes. I was just gonna ask how you like her. She's great, right?
Yeah, everybody. What's not to love?
Mm-hmm.
Is there anybody else that you want to just kind of take credit for? I just don't need to be humble. You're a goddess after all. So if there's anybody else you want to just kind of like, well, that was me.
Something I want to make clear to you is, while we may joke about making sourdough and having a full-on Julia Roberts eat for love experience, and that is part of my sabbatical, a larger part of it is letting you humans learn how to ride without safety wheels, without training it. Now, I can say that I gave a little nudge to quite a few people, but I'm hearing fuzzy things.
I feel like this is sort of what happened without you. Things kind of go a little off the rails.
Well, and this is exactly my point. It is important for me to take breaks so that humans can realize that with only just a tiny bit of inspirational spark, they can do great things on their own. And they don't need me, although if they want to talk to me more, I love it. But they don't need wonderful things. Now, did I create Lizzo? No. Did I tell Lizzo to pull the truth? And that I will take credit for. Those dance moves.
I'm getting a lot of feedback. I'm being told by my tech that your radiance is kind of messing with some of our equipment, which was to be expected.
Always
we expected
blame the guest, isn't it, Brian? Always easy to blame the guest, huh?
No, it's just your radiant beauty is hard to contain in our mortal instruments.
I know.
We have another question from the audience. This is from Joe from Philadelphia, and he's wondering which god is the funniest. He wants to know which one he needs to pray to.
Oh, Dionysus, but it's a real body sort of humor. And honestly, now that the Joe humor is really not doing it for everyone anymore, poor old Di, he's had some issues. But, he has also taken over hot-based humor, so he's doing okay.
All right. Well, we're just about out of time. Is there anything you want to maybe just a quick pep talk you could give to all of us before we have to do without you for another 6 years?
You are capable of far more than you can imagine.
Oh, that's really lovely. Well, Athena, goddess of wisdom. Thank you. Athena, goddess of wisdom. Yeah. Oh, geez, I'm missing you already. Athena, goddess of wisdom. Thank you so much for being here. Hey, everybody. Thanks so much for being here. Not sure what that crackling is. Hopefully it's not going to be in the recording. But again, thank you so much for being here. Let's bring out all the guests again so you can give them applause. We just turned on everyone's mics, so this is live audience noise. This is not canned. This is not. We did not pay for this. Yeah.
Wow.
What I usually like to do is just at the end of the show, just ask everybody if there's anything they want to promote or say anything to their adoring fans. So I'm gonna go to Tara.
So I am not Dr. Maura Hill in real life, but I am a doctor. So I would like to plug wearing a mask and getting your flu shot when it's available. Thanks for watching, everyone.
And then Pete.
Yes, please support all your local artists and musicians. They are having a very hard time. They're trying their best to put all their work out there online. That is the best, most efficient platform right now. Please, please, please support them.
Sam?
Be kind to all the teachers in your life because we're getting started soon and it's scary and stressful. And read a book.
And finally, as always, Neil with the news.
Hey, two things for me to plug. One is on the fun side. If you enjoy mysteries and people talking about mysteries, check out the Dying Message podcast. I'm on that the next couple weeks. Our People of Interest friend Noah co-hosts that and mostly hosts the next couple episodes. So I'm doing that for fun. And by day, when I'm not making up fake news, I'm dealing in true personal stories. I work for an organization called First Person Arts. We have monthly story slams on the internet, similar to this. And we also are starting a number of other initiatives coming up soon. So check out First Person Arts on social media.
I heard that somebody on this show was a former champion. Just,
Yeah, Ryan T. Barlow.
Yeah.
There he is. There he is. Ryan T. Barlow, Grand Slam champion of first-person art stories many years ago.
Plugging myself in the past. Thank you guys for being here. Woo!
Thank you for having us.
Yeah. Thanks so much for being here, everybody. Of course, I always like to end the show by giving a shout out to TAT Communications. You're going to show up. There they are. They put on this great show. So if you need them for any great, TAT is too shy to give themselves an ovation, but you should give them an ovation. They've done this great work. They can do great stuff for your potential meetings and what have you coming up. So special thanks to them as always. But thanks to you for coming out. I hope you enjoyed the show. This has been People of Interest, and I've been Ryan T. Barlow. So as always, I invite all of you to stay interesting. Have a good night.